He will discard it. He'll discard it. If he is of a decent intelligence or higher, he's going to look at the information in this book and say, well, that's kind of surprising, but I believe it. The math is there. The science is there. Some of the correlations drawn, I got questions about. But I'm still giving this book credit for what it did from a scientific standpoint. Some shit that's true, we don't want to believe. Isn't that a bitch? I have no problem believing absolute truths. I have no problem believing fairly well-proven truths that aren't absolutely solid yet, as long as they come with the evidence, a wide body of supporting evidence. And where I get into problems is when people take stuff that cannot be proven and present it like fact, and ignore things that have already been proven and continue to be proven, and call it garbage science, pseudoscience. I've got something coming for you here that's going to be like the motherfucking heavyweight title fight of, I'm just going to give it my own name, spiritualism versus critical thinking. Because as you may know, those two don't always jive, man. Yeah, they have a little bit of a battle going on between them. Not always. I mean, some of the concepts are fairly parallel, but once you get into the details, the devil rises up, and he's an ugly bastard. Yeah, he's in the details. That's where you didn't know that? Yeah, when you go to hell, you go to the details. It's a big gate. It says details on the front. It's like, oh no, I get it now. The devil's in the details. That's hell is it's not Hades. It's details. It's footnotes. It's yeah, that's what it is. It's a bibliography. What are you going to do? If the devil's in the details and you're going to hell, you're going to details. That's where you're going. Forever confined to the details. And you may ask yourself, how did I get in hell? How did I get this beautiful wife? And the day goes on and the details rush in. I think that's what happens. I'm pretty sure I read that in some sort of apocalyptic book of some sort. Let's see. Who's in the chat room? Rick's in there. We only had Andrew and Rick tonight. I see how you fuckers are. And I'm learning. See, here's what happens. If I do shows once a week, I get a shitload of listens and all kinds of stuff going on. If I do shows where I announce them all over the internet, I get a shitload of people in the chat, and it's a fucking circus. But if I just sneak up on you and just list it in one or two places, ain't nobody showing up in this bitch, and that's all right. That's all right. But as this show progresses, and especially once we have cable internet, I will be trying to get a wider audience in here to kill each other in chat, because that's what happens in chat. You kill each other. What you think is wrong, what I think is right. Off with your head. Off with both of your heads. Some women have two heads. All men have, well, it depends on the man, because John Bobbitt was like, fuck, I was just in bed. Yes, I was drunk. You're allowed to be drunk. It's legal. Looked and my dick was gone. Looked and my dick was gone. I said, oh, dear me, I don't even have a nub. It's just flat. It is void of an object in that area. I have become Ken, the Barbie version of John Bobbitt. What the fuck? Meanwhile, Lorena's riding down the road, rolls her window down, tosses a penis out the window like a hot dog that didn't just taste good enough. What kind of world do we live in? What is psychology? Well, I'll tell you who's fucking crazy, Lorena Bobbitt. Because even if you're getting beaten and shit, you don't chop a dick off. You go get a lawyer. You don't chop a dick off, honestly. Oh my God. I mean, can you imagine? Let's say she cheated and she was abusive. And he was kind of like a beta male, as Guy Shea calls him. And she was beaten on. And this happens. Believe it. Look it up. There are plenty of women that beat on their husbands. God knows I've seen it. I'm just going to say that. So he cuts her titties off and makes earmuffs out of them, rides to the fair and gets on the, what do you call that big circular thing? The Ferris wheel. And he's got earmuff titties on his head when he's arrested. Now, that man would have never gotten a break. He would have never gotten a break. But a woman cuts the dick off because he's been an asshole, admittedly. She throws it out the window, goes the dick, flying through the air. Woof, 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 blunk, blunk. Oh my God, poor John Bobbitt. Look, I think chopping a dick off is attempted murder. I don't care if you're a man doing it to another man, or if you're a woman doing it to a man, if you're a midget doing it to a horse hermaphrodite. If you chop the dick off, it's attempted murder. Put him on trial. Well, he mistreated me. Well, you're free to go then. That's pretty much what happened, isn't it? He mistreated me. You're free to go. You can chop the dick off. next time, get the balls too. I don't know about that. I'm not good with that. But we're talking about bias. It is who makes you what you are. Rick and I have differing political views, for example. Rick has a very good show on the Fuck You Network. He leans more to the right. He's more conservative in his views. There is nothing wrong with that. And I guarantee you that if I were to ask him why he has his views, he would come up with solid reasoning. We just see the world differently. We see the country differently. We see needs and abuses a little bit differently from one another. That should be okay with everybody. Hey, hon, you don't want to be on the radio? Say something. All these people are listening. Say something you want them to know. Maybe they're a Hernandez trial, maybe a book.
Yeah, his fiance is lying. She's full of shit.
Okay, my fiance Tanya says Aaron Hernandez's fiance lying like a bitch up on the stand.
Full of shit.
Now, what should we do to her for lying? What should happen to her for lying? Prison? Cut her titties off? No? Okay. So she says no. She did not like the idea of the titty removal. However, she believes that, well, he's actually being a kind of a dick right now, I think. If you ever look at Aaron Hernandez in the courtroom, he does not look like a person who cares. He doesn't care. He doesn't care that he killed a guy. Now, I'm not convicting you yet. I need to see all of the evidence. I need to see all of it. But goddamn if the circumstantial evidence isn't making him look bad. And that whore, who's already been caught and convicted, or not convicted necessarily, I'm not sure. I know she was caught lying to, I think, a grand jury, is now being allowed to testify. Let me tell you what you do. I think that's a witness for the defense. Is it the prosecution? Doesn't matter. Let's say it's a witness for the prosecution. All the defense needs to do is stand up and say, she done been caught lying. We move to throw all of her testimony out. If it works against you, if it works for you, you like, chill, cool, that's all right. Yeah, we want her shit in there. Have the jury go read over that. You know, people do what they want. That's the problem. There's room in a court system for acting, and there should not be. Ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you, you're all afraid of Skynet. You think the Terminator's coming. I'm looking forward to when computers are doing more work. I want computers in sports calling penalties. I sure do. They don't make mistakes. They don't have bias. You can't pay them off. They're going to call the penalty equally on both teams. I'm looking for computers to go to work in the court system. I want computers to be able to certainly detect lies and deceit, and they're getting there. And they have to be overseen by humans. We know this, just like drone technology. But they are far more accurate than we are. We've got them driving our cars now. How many times you've been in an accident because you were texting or fucking around? Don't lie to me. How many times have you almost been in an accident? How many times have you been a victim of an accident from it? How many times you've been hit by a drunk driver or been a drunk driver that hit something? That shit stops when you have computers driving your cars. You have the rare computer malfunction, whereas today, in humanity, you have the constant and dependable human malfunction. Take that control and volunteer it. Don't let it be taken from you. Volunteer it to the computer that thinks at all times accurately and with reason and logic. Yeah, that's where we're going, and I want it. I desperately want it. But I want people to be in charge of the ultimate application of these uses of computer technology and people with a conscience. Because that's one thing I don't know if we'll ever be able to wire into a computer's thinking is conscience. It's not all about the math of it, not all about the logic, not all ones and zeros. It's about conscience, empathy. Empathy, caring what happens to another person, not just because it could happen to you, but because you can relate to that person. And for that reason, you can feel their pain with them. That's empathy. You got to have that or you're not human. I think that's what defines us from other... I mean, some animals do have empathy. We know that. And we know that some animals mourn for long periods of time when they lose one from their clan, colony, hive, whatever. However, where humans differ is that we can feel this pain and take it into a long-term depression where we just don't want... You lose a spouse, you lose a child, for Christ's sakes. I was up in Alaska. I was coaching a Little League football team. I'm not going to give you the whole story. These people had 4 children total. They had lost one as an infant, so they were down to 3 children. Lost 2 more kids in an auto accident. The father lived. All right, the father was driving a minivan, driving the girl to soccer practice. One of the boys I coached, Drew, was in the van with him to support his sister at soccer practice. He sees a moose and has to swerve, gets hit broadside by a pickup truck. Both kids die. And I was in the hospital room with Drew. And I didn't know what to do. I was 21 in the Air Force. And I said, Drew, you got to wake up. We got to go to practice. He didn't love anything more than football, his mom told me. I said, we got to go to practice. You got to get up, Drew. Get up. But he didn't get up. He never got up again. And when we went to his funeral, that had open coffins with him and his sister in there, and there were so many people there that they had to turn him away at the door. We already had 5,000 people in there, and there were people lined up around the block in Alaska. I think it was at that point in my life that I decided no loving creature that created us could let this happen. And nobody that I know in any country, for any reason that I know of, has gone through that kind of pain that those two people lived through. How could that father ever forgive himself for this freak accident? He was in the process of saving everybody's life when he cost his son and daughter their lives. Where's his justice? If you don't have empathy for that human being, you're not human in my book. I don't respect you. I don't want anything to do with you. You haven't evolved. Because what separates us from other species, at least some of them, is the ability to feel the pain of another that we don't even know. And these things, these emotions, also help to create the bias that we feel and that we judge the modern world with. So when I drive by a guy sitting in an alley asking for dimes, and he served in Vietnam, and he's lost all his teeth because he can't get dental care, and he can't walk because his muscles have atrophied, I feel something for that man. Now, in your mind, whatever color you just saw that man, and whatever sex, obviously would be a male, flip it. If it was a white male, it's a black female now. Serve the same conditions. How do you feel? This is where you learn who you are, and this is where bias rears its ugly head. And the truth for me is I don't care what sex or color that Vietnam veteran sitting in that alley is. I feel the same empathy for him. So that's really what bias is. I need to get my emotions in check and get out of this part of the conversation because it's not a comfortable spot for me. But we need to talk more about this bias. Now, we've got spirituality, and we have logic, and they don't often tangle well with each other. For one thing, I don't argue with people about spirituality. If people are religious, people are spiritual, I kind of admire that. It's like, because it takes a higher intelligence to get to that level where you care about this sort of unseen force around you, whatever it may be. So, but I can't have a reasonable argument with you about how valid your spirituality is. I don't have anything for it or against it. Nothing. All I'm going to do is listen to you and maybe talk about a few weird experiences I've had. That's all I got. All I can argue with you about is the stuff we've proven. I can argue that stuff. So we're going to hear what happens when you take a spiritual powerhouse, the intelligent Deepak Chopra, and you put him up with a human version of a chess-playing computer, who is Michael Sherman. And I need to go ahead and say it up front. I don't want to influence your views on either one of these guys, but Michael Sherman's an asshole. I did a whole radio episode on him a long time ago, Blog Talk Radio. I fucking lit his ass up. Because you don't have to be an asshole just because you're a logical thinker. You can listen to people. If you can't disprove them, there's no sense in making fun of what they say they had happen to them. And he did it on CNN or Fox with some guys that said they saw a UFO at Rendlesham Forest. You don't just fucking discount that. You just say, look, I haven't seen the evidence. And let it go. You ain't got to be a dick about it. He's a dick about it. Let's see if he goes dictified in this battle, essentially, with Deepak Chopra. And this is the rematch.
So Michael Shermer, he's the executive director and founding publisher of Skeptic magazine. I think you received some copies as you walked in. He's also a monthly columnist for Scientific American and adjunct professor at Claremont Graduate University and hopefully at Chapman in the near future. His latest book is The Mind of the Market, about evolutionary economics. He also wrote Why Darwin Matters, Evolution and the Case Against Intelligent Design, and The Science of Good and Evil, and Why People Believe Weird Things. And his next book is going to be The Believing Brain. Mike.
Thank you. I will try to stick to a classical clock instead of a relativistic clock. So, is there an ultimate reality? Just out of curiosity, how many of you here in the audience think the answer is no, there is not an ultimate reality? If I could just see a show of hands.